Good morning. Sorry for the delay this morning. Getting started just a little late. I will call the meeting for Tuesday, December 28th to order. All right. Item number 1, approve the meeting minutes from the meeting held November 23rd. Okay. We will get that next time then. I will postpone that one. So first item will be approve the airport vouchers totaling $77,726.39.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Sounds good. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Engen.
Aye.
Cosgrove.
Aye.
Capitan.
Aye.
Lynn.
Aye.
Lind.
Aye. They are approved. Next item will be approve the individual vouchers. Take my mask off so you guys can hear me. Totaling our Alpha through Golf. I believe that was all they were. Yep. And Fargo Jet Center, Obernell, North Star Aviation Insurance, Parsons Electric, Mead and Hunt, and Pro Landscapers.
Motion.
Thank you.
Motion.
Thank you. Got a second. There we go. And roll call vote, please.
Engen.
Aye.
Cosgrove.
Aye.
Capitan.
Aye.
Lynn.
Aye.
Lind.
Aye. Next item, receive a cyber insurance update from Bell Insurance for $6,132.47.
All right, so that was the final result of our quest to find cyber insurance. We did engage Mark LePage at North Star Aviation Insurance to go to AIG, the big market, and they declined because they only deal with businesses that are 25 million or more. So then we engaged Bell. They went out to 6 different agencies, and only one made an offer, which was Cowbell, for $6,132.47, and we've provided it to SNL Computer. They looked through all of the requirements that they have in the policy, and we'll meet all of those, such as testing and do you remember the other protocols? There was quite a few protocols that they required of us to make sure that they would engage in the policy, which they did. And Leo from SNL assured us that we would meet all the protocols that they required, employee training and so forth on email systems. So we have it for now. Whether or not we'll do this again in the future, I guess we'll see. The market is really tight. I think as cyber crimes increase around the country, I'm being told that we might get priced out of the market. I'm not sure, but at the same time, it's probably something we can't afford not to have. I guess we'll see where it goes from here. So that's more of an informational piece for you, but the policy is secure and will be effective January 1st.
What are the other airports that are run by MAAs? What insurance carriers do they have?
I have not checked with them.
Okay.
I didn't.
Yeah,
But
and that's
I can
something
find
just
out.
kind of keep in the back of your mind at meetings.
I know the smaller airports that I've checked with, just in our region and so forth, none of them had cyber insurance. They
Okay.
didn't even consider it, but
Okay.
it's something that is on their radar.
Good.
Okay. Any discussion? Questions? Kind of curious what they do cover.
Yeah.
And now we get more cowbell. All right, roll call vote, please. Nothing. No, it's just we already
information.
bought it.
That's
Never
correct.
mind.
Yeah.
Sorry, my mistake. Okay, next item, receive a change order for Sun Electric for flash racks installation, an increase of $21,458.65.
You see an email from Steve Dosh from Sun Electric, who we retained at a previous meeting to work with Flash for the installation of the new parks system that's out there. And they came in and found that there were additional items that were needed in order to get the process completed. The biggest one being the Delcom fiber splicing, which I think that involved Consolidated Communications and trying to get their crews moving forward to get the communication wire in place so that it could be up and running in a timely fashion. Once they got the units here, some of the stands that were needed, the concrete foundations didn't quite match up, so they did some adjustments for those locations on the entrance drives to make sure that the equipment would sit on the concrete foundations that were in place back from, I suppose, 1985 or so when they were put in. So it's an additional $21,000. It will the net increase is about $12,458. If you recall, their initial proposal that we accepted was $132,000, and then after we'd accepted, they were able to use a different junction box, which reduced it by $9,000 down to $123,000. So when you do the math, the additional work is about $12,458 from the original invoice that we had approved. So
Motion.
Second.
Any other discussion? Can I get a second?
I did.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Motion and second, there we go. Roll call vote.
Egan.
Aye.
Cosgrove.
Aye.
Capitan.
Aye.
Lind.
Aye.
Lind.
Aye. And I think they look wonderful, actually. I was really happy with the way the appearance turned out and the way that it is working so far.
We still need, just on the flash thing, so there's only 2 lanes that are in operation. The flash crew is coming back the first week in January is when they're scheduled to get the 3rd lane open at the exit plaza. They ran out of time before Christmas and so forth, so we'll eventually have 3 lanes. At last report, there's under 100 Amano tickets that are left, the old tickets. And when you come to the exit booth with an old ticket, it is a manual system that they're going through to figure out, based on the license plate inventories they do every night, how much that they'll owe. So as those filter out, the process will be much smoother. And we haven't heard any complaints. I know this morning there was a thing with the east entrance. I sent that off to Jay to make sure that he's looking at that. But so far so good with the system.
Pay on foot ones downstairs too.
Oh, yes. So as you go down the escalator to your right by the ATM, there's a pay on foot machine there, and that is seeing some activity. So where you can prepay your parking, get your sticker, and when you go out, you just insert that and exit the lot.
Great. Didn't know that was a
Are we
thing.
gonna do a press release on that? Or can we do some sort of story?
It's in process
It's in
with
process,
Flint.
okay.
I know Madison and Georgiana are on, and along with the Flash and SP Plus. So there is something that
There's
is
something
is in the works. Yeah. And I
Okay.
think they're kind of maybe waiting until we get the 3rd exit lane up and running in the exit booth.
Okay.
Sure, yeah, if we could throw that on Facebook or something, that'd be great. Okay, thanks, Madison. All right, number 6, receive communications from the U.S. DOT regarding the extension of the Small Community Air Service Development Grant.
Okay, so
Through
back in
January.
2015, we were awarded a Small Community Air Service Development Grant of $500,000. Our partners in this grant are the Fargo-Moorhead Convention and Visitors Bureau, along with the Greater Fargo-Moorhead Economic Development Corporation. So each of us has pledged the local match to that, and we have about an $835,000 package that's been in place since that 2015 grant award. And what it is, it's basically a revenue guarantee for a carrier to come in and provide service. Our primary was Fargo, Seattle, and we continue to work with Alaska Airlines. As recently as a couple of weeks ago, the conversation about them putting in Fargo, Seattle service. Obviously, one of the detriments to that is Microsoft isn't traveling. That's the big part of that. So this grant has been extended multiple times prior to this most recent extension, which now we are extended through January 10th of 2023. We'll continue to work with Alaska. We've engaged Mike Lum from Volair to assist in an alternate. Okay, we have approached Delta twice to do the service. They've declined both times. Is there an alternate route that we could redirect and ask the DOT to put it on, say Charlotte service with American or some other type of option? But we'll keep our options open. The good news is it wasn't extended for another year, and this is just kind of for your information. Both Charlie Johnson and Joe Raso are aware of it, who are our partners in this grant.
Okay, thank you. Number 7, discuss communication from the City of Fargo regarding employee retention payment.
I think we handed out this morning, there's an email from Mike Redlinger. It's got the memo. Did you hand that out yet, Joan?
They're on my desk. Let me
Okay. Well, she'll go get that. So, I know Commissioner Strand, you're on here, and you made certain that Mike reached out to me and to let the board members know that this $1,000 appreciation bonus was going to be presented to the commission last night, which was approved, I believe, 4-1. Joan is going to get the information. We'll have a little pause in the meeting here, but I guess it's for your consideration. I know, Rick, I think you've chatted with John Strand about this and whether or not we want to keep consistent with the city employees. I guess that's up to this board. So
Will it come out of the MAA's CARE grant?
correct. Yeah,
Okay.
Carissa. Yeah.
Carissa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move we match the city's proposal and afford our employees that benefit as they have probably earned it, and maybe more,
Yeah.
a tad more.
I was wondering if that already was, if our employees were already covered under the city since we're still together.
No, this was approved last night. So our first, we were terminated at midnight December 26th. So just by, the day.
Second.
Mr.
Sorry.
Chairman, well, probably need a second.
Yeah, we
before
need a second. Yeah.
It's a two-sided document that you're getting that came from Mike. I don't know, Commissioner Strand, I don't know if you have any other comments or questions or anything, but
I don't, except that I'm glad that we alerted you folks to this so you have a chance to discuss it. Because it hit us afterwards that the deadline had crossed and all of a sudden you needed to know this, but thank you for considering it.
okay. So Joan is just handing out Mike's email along with the your memo, Commissioner Strand. So they're maybe reading it for the first time here. Sorry.
No, I read this memo yesterday.
Okay.
I read the memo yesterday, and then I saw that it had passed the commission vote last night. So I don't have any questions on it. So
Mr. Chairman, I just have, as we,
I have a question.
hold on one second
might be
there.
the same thing, is with the adjustments to the salaries and everything previous to this year, how does that line up? Sort of vis-a-vis the city employees, $1,000 versus increase about what the city did at the airport.
Okay.
Is there any, just a baseline there that I'm looking for?
I don't know that that's been calculated. If it was, the PEC committee may have kept that information, but I don't have that readily available, Commissioner.
And I don't have it readily available either.
No, I'm just wondering is that, if we're gonna match the city, are we being consistent with the other salary adjustments that were made during this year?
Well, I think the other salary adjustments were made because the PEC felt that job descriptions and job responsibilities were different. And that's the reason why the adjustments were made, so I think it's, but I don't, again, it's probably been, golly, a year since our PEC met, so I don't have that information top of mind.
We could table this for a second and wait till the mayor to come back. We could ask some questions then.
Okay.
So, Mr. Capitan, did you have a question?
Yeah, I heard the discussion on the TV last night where the city passed giving bonuses using ARPA funds. Is that correct?
I think it's CARES funds. CARES was the term that they used, not ARPA.
Okay, because I was going to question the legality of using those funds for employee bonuses
Yeah, CARES is
to make sure that it's legal.
I think the staff, Redlinger and Costin, did their research on that, is my understanding, according to the article, and they feel confident that it is. It's all part of the payroll submission that goes in for employee costs. So I do not know the ARPA requirements yet. We have some guidance on that. We will also receive an ARPA grant, but we haven't received that yet. We have a Carissa grant, and the rules on payroll are very similar between the two, or basically identical.
Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I think the fact that it's an issue of timing where our crossover was not on the 31st, but the 26th.
Yep.
It's just a mechanical issue. Had that not taken place and been on the 31st, they would have been entitled to it, and I think that's the mechanism that we should look at.
Agreed. Can we wait until the mayor comes back in the room? Since he's here today, I would like to get his input on this as well, and then we'll come back to this item when he comes back in. Okay. Moving on to item 8, review the proposed memorandum of understanding with the city of Fargo and consider approval.
Stacy, you're online, if you have anything.
I guess all I would say is the only two, and I apologize, y'all, I'm under the weather, so I didn't want to bring my illness there. The only substantive changes that have happened, and I did send this out to the board last Thursday, I believe, at noon, are on page 2, subsection A, under section 2, where the parties acknowledge the fact that we have to have an actuarial study done to figure out what the closed fund liability is attributable to airport employees. And so we included that information That's something that the parties will work together to get done in the foreseeable future. And then the only other one is at page 6 under subsection C. To the extent there's any cost associated with the airport certifying its mill levy to the city, the airport will be responsible for that cost. I don't see there being a cost, so I didn't see there being a problem including that language. And other than that, everything remains as it was in the previous draft to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I too didn't see what the cost would be. That's kind of ambiguous. We kind of indicated that if there is a cost, what is the justification so that the FAA doesn't look at revenue diversion type accusations when they go through our budget and review the audits. So that's kind of there. The other part, which I've spoken with different Eide Bailey folks in different offices, even in Sioux Falls that does the Sioux Falls one, Brady Martz that does Grand Forks. The requirement that our audit is rolled up into the city's audit is still very, there's even the auditors within the own firm that does the city that don't agree with it. So while we are going to have a full audit, don't get me wrong, it's just a matter of the timing that we have to have our audit done by March 31st might be a little tight to get, knowing how the audit system works, especially going through our federal grants. But then for the city to have it rolled up into their audit, there's disagreement with the Eide Bailey that is even required.
Required, right?
Grand Forks and stuff, no separate political subdivision. Sioux Falls, their Airport Authorities Act is identical to North Dakota's. I haven't found anyone in North Dakota that does that, where they roll it up into the city, county, or whoever created it. So, but nonetheless, if that's what they require, that's what we'll do. But we will have a full audit. It's just a matter of it being rolled up. What the others do is they report if there's a mill levy. It's a line item that's on there. If the city or county do a general obligation backing of a bond, that is mentioned in the city or county audit. But as far as including and rolling up the full airport audit, I haven't found one anywhere that does that. So,
Mr. Chairman, the determination on that though is part of the city's audit. It's not the city's determination. They're identifying this as a component unit.
they have, yep, it's under GASB.
And it's strange, the auditors are saying this is a complete view of the city. And so if there's a component unit through whatever legal means, liability means, that could come through the airport to the city, then it becomes a component unit and becomes part of the audit. So they had done some work on it previously and ruled that it didn't meet the test to not include it.
It's how the city answered the questions back in June. Those were shared with me. But yet the people within Eide Bailey don't agree. That's what the, and they're all following
Well,
GASB.
that'll be part of their agreed upon procedures is the discussion. So
Yep.
it's-
Yep. But they're following GASB in Grand Forks. They're doing the same out at the other airport authorities, West Fargo, even down to Sioux Falls. They're all following GASB, the same exact wording, and they're all like, "Why would you do that?" And they're from the same firm. So
yeah, so
anyway,
it's up to Eide Bailey at this point. But the initial
Right.
did go back and listen. They
Yeah.
did do an initial review of it, and it was Eide Bailey made the
Correct.
determination that it had to be done that way.
Yep.
And so if they're going to
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just can't hear this conversation. I don't know if it's just me or if it's others as well.
yep. And it's the Eide
Okay, thank
Bailey
you.
Eide Bailey office in Mankato that made the determination. Fargo and Sioux Falls don't agree.
yeah, that's their issue,
Correct,
not
correct,
ours.
yeah.
There's nothing either
But-
party can do.
The main point is there will be an audit, and if the city decides to roll it up, I could care less if they want to. But it's just, it seems like an unnecessary step.
And
in the
again, it
process.
wouldn't be the city, it's the city's auditors saying to fairly reflect the position of the city. Most times people don't like things rolling up into their audit because
So if you couldn't hear it, I'll sum it up. Eide Bailey was the one that determined that the city needed to have the airport authorities audit rolled up into the city's audit, and it was their technique that we're discussing. So, and as long as Eide Bailey says that the airport authority audit needs to be part of the city's audit, that's what we're going to do, and we will comply. Any questions on that?
Just one.
Yes.
If that's the case and the audit is needed in a time-specific manner, then Section 2 of the MOU creates a problem because we don't have that information and could not provide a complete set of financials subject to the city getting us the actuarial information for pension liability. So chicken egg, we need to resolve that.
Yeah, we're still waiting for the actuarial number from the city to tell us what the liability is going to be for us after we take over the pension, right?
Yes, and if we don't get that till March or April of '22, how can we provide fair numbers to the city, audited numbers to the city that are actual if we don't have that information?
We'll just have to provide estimated numbers, I guess that's.
I know, but it's a chicken egg and it keeps going around.
And it's the same situation we'll be in when we present our budget in July or whatever the time frame's going to be. The federal budget that we present is a complete guessing game because we typically won't know that until the October to December time frame. In fact, there are still things in our current budget for 2021 that they haven't announced for us yet. And we should have known that back in October of 2020. So there'll be, I guess, best estimates based on what we know at the time. That's all that we can do.
Okay, any other discussion on that? So I will ask for, are we approving the MOU?
Yes.
Can I ask for any other discussion on the MOU on whether anything needs to be changed or any problems? No?
I'm fine with the language as long as they promptly provide us the actuarial information that was asked for in March of 2020.
And we're still waiting for it. Okay. Done with the discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Hagan.
Haven't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we need a motion and a
I
second.
think you did a motion and I
Okay.
did a second.
Okay, I'm
Well,
sorry.
I rushed right through.
And then, because John spoke, or it was gonna.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Hagan.
Aye.
Cosgrove.
Aye.
Capitan.
Aye.
Lind.
Aye.
Lind.
All right. Thank you for everyone who put a enormous amount of work into this. Stacy, thank you very much for the 10,000 drafts that you have made of this. So thank you very much. Oh, we want to move back to item number 7 and discuss the communication regarding the employee retention. Mr. Mayor, while you were out, we had a little discussion about the bonuses for the employees. I was under the assumption that our employees were still under the umbrella of the city until December 31st. We terminated on December 26th, and so therefore our employees fall outside of that. And Mr. Mr. Cosgrove, if you had a question?
Just procedural, just understanding the adjustments we made to salaries at the airport this year versus the city, and do we still line up as far as the bonuses? We did recognize some differences and changes to that, and so I just wanted to know what that was in impact.
Yes, sir.
I think two elements that kind of govern what we did. So Cass County did a 5.1 cost of living increase. West Fargo did a 4% cost of living increase. Fargo did a 3.5% increase. And to John's comment, you made some adjustment of your employees, and when we had all those discussions about pay and what you wanted to do. And we found on the COVID money, you can say appreciation, they don't like the word retention. You kind of, it works both ways, right? If you give them appreciation of $1,000, people are appreciated. But I didn't really want to do a cost of living adjustment because that would have been reflected in my next year's budget at 4% or 4.5%. So a one-time bonus can be done with that money. And again, I don't know the politics of your payroll, or what you've done with your payroll, but we've kind of been consistent with what we've been doing with our payroll, and we haven't done any adjustments otherwise to that. We're doing a market study in the city of Fargo just to see if where we are in the market, to make sure that we're correctly there, and that could be shared once we have that done. But you guys have handled your payroll, I think, ever since June. You have already been making your adjustments, right? So we just want to be fair to you. You're right, Eric, is that 26 was when it cut off, and that's why the employees for the airport didn't get it, because it's on this payroll that's coming out. So it's really what we want to heads you up, because we didn't want to set up a problem with your employees to say, hey, I didn't get it, or why didn't I get it? And it's $1,000 per employee and then full-time.
Full-time, yeah.
It's adjusted it for 3/4 and it's adjusted it for half.
And I just wanted to ask if there's any legalities with the FAA as far as this goes, with the spending CARES money for employee bonuses? No? Curious. Okay, any other discussion?
Motion.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Roll call vote.
Engen.
Aye.
Cosgrove.
Aye.
Capitan.
Aye.
Lynn.
Aye.
Lind.
Aye. Okay, item number 9, transition update. Coming up on the end here, so
Yeah,
how
so
much more do we have
yesterday
left?
we started the first day with Pro Resources on the new payroll system. That's all flowing together well. Joan spent an enormous amount of time filling out forms and doing things for health insurance. We've made our first deposit to the Public Health Insurance Trust. That was taken out of our account on December 23rd. And we have all of the monthly calendars for our health insurance trust payments that will be set forth. The IT transition is completed. We're looking at the final bills from SNL to set all of that up, so the equipment and all the labor. There was some extra time for them working with the city on moving data back and forth, making some connections and so forth for our fuel system, the copy machine. There were some things that took a little bit more time than expected, but nonetheless, that system is up and running. Still learning the new phone system that we have, but it seems to be working fairly well from that standpoint. So if you call and get put on hold, let us know what you hear. I think we got that corrected, but yet there's more things that we can do with that. So. Is there anything else, Joan, that we're working on with the new accounting system that's up and operational? Obviously, we're in earnest on January 1st. So.
Hi, yeah. Sure, that's fine.
Can we make sure everybody's on mute, please? Getting some background noise there.
So I don't know if you have any questions or anything. I'm still keeping a log of all of the different things that we've done through the transition. So as that gets updated, I can send it out to you. So if you have any questions, by all means, let us know. So far, so good.
Mr. Chairman, I just think at the end of this to recap, what we've spent. I know I've asked for it several times and it's been ongoing, but what we've changed and how it all lines up from the totals there.
So you want to recap in January on
And
the?
that'd be fine.
Yep, I'll get you an update there. I've got a running log here, so, yep.
Yeah,
if you
it's
could
been very well organized, and I think this is the first meeting I haven't had an update. So, because we're on that tail end of all the responsibilities transition-wise.
Okay.
Yeah, like I say, we're still closing out our 2021 books with the city, so there'll be accounts payable, accounts receivable transactions that will take place probably for into January, maybe possibly into February, depending on how the airlines pay their 2021 rates and charges.
Mhm.
But some are a little bit slow, but we're working with Delta and Frontier and some others on getting their payments up to date. But outside of that, I think we're in pretty good shape.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for Sean or Joan? Okay, moving on to item number 10, approved scholarship of the North Dakota Aviation Association for the 2022 Fly ND Conference, which is going to be March 6th through the 8th here in Fargo.
Yeah, this was formerly known as the Upper Midwest Aviation Symposium that moved around the state for years now. It's just called 2022 Fly ND. And the tradition has been that the host city has a $5,000 sponsorship of the event. That's kind of what's happened, whether it's in Grand Forks, Minot, Bismarck, or Fargo. Those are the 4 cities that it rotates through. So the request would be for a $5,000 sponsorship that'll be payable next year.
So moved.
Second, thank you. And roll call vote.
Engen.
Aye.
Cosgrove.
Aye.
Capitan.
Aye.
Lynn.
Aye.
Lind.
I just have one question. What is the qualification, or what is the criteria that this gets awarded for?
It's a sponsorship that they can
We're
use
just
as they
sponsoring
see
it.
fit, yeah.
But what are they? Do you know who they? Do they give the scholarship to? Just curious. Or
It's not a scholarship, it's a sponsorship.
just a sponsorship.
Yeah,
Never mind.
sponsorship.
I misread that. I'm sorry. I had something else in my head. I'm still 5 minutes here
The
behind.
scholarship is another thing that we'll talk about at a future meeting under the West Fargo Airport Authority, and there's some others that do
Yeah.
a scholarship for an aviation student. As I get more information from the Aeronautics Commission on that, Fargo, Bismarck, Minot, Grand Forks, and others in the Airport Association are looking at contributing that each year through our dues, but that's a work in progress. And Jordan is the treasurer of the Airport Association. We'll get more information on that. But there are some airports that are doing a scholarship every year, 250, 500, whatever it might be, that goes to a student that's going to get into the aviation career.
Very good. So ours is just sponsorship. I saw scholarship in my mind. I'm sorry. And I was a yes on that too. Joan. Number 11, receive update on the SRE building, the change order that came from the FAA.
So Jeff Klein isn't here today, but you have all the individual emails from Jason Kroll. Some of these go back a year. And finally, on December 21st, thereabouts, they finally got through each email in terms of the eligibility under the federal grants that were awarded and or moving into a CARES grant. At the end, it's all federal money. And you'll see the determinations, 94.4% of this amount, and some are not eligible, therefore they then put out a statement that they're eligible for CARES funding. So we're sorting through this with Mead and Hunt, and we'll get the final accounting for the SRA building done. As far as I know, there aren't any punch list items left. Everything should be completed, Darren, as far as we know. Terry's not online today, but I believe the project is completed. Now we're in the warranty period. We're confirming warranty start dates, warranty end dates for all of the different components, and we should have that list for us and our employees here soon. The as-built drawings, those they're working on at TL Stroh. If there was any changes to the drawings that were originally put out, they should have the red line drawings available for us to put on file. So this is just more of an update. You've approved these change orders subject to the FAA. Here's the result of the FAA's review of those change orders. That's all I have on that.
You know, I think of all the time that it takes to just go through and approve these the appropriate way, you know, just to make sure it's amazing.
Right.
But the building is
the frustrating
wonderful.
part is we've been holding contractor payments, and they know that because of the FAA's review, and it just took forever. And also, it's kept us from drawing down additional federal funding for the project. So but it's done now.
Okay, our next meeting is January 11. Can you reach out and see if Terry or John can be here for the January 11
Yes.
meeting and give us a final update on that? Okay. Have your questions ready for John or Terry next time. Moving forward to number 12, airport construction and security update.
Mead and Hunt is working on a number of different projects for us. The security system upgrade, the boarding bridge upgrade at Gate 4, the terminal area study that you've seen, and you'll start to see a number of meetings now taking place in January. I think the board can be invited to some of those as we meet some of their partners that will be doing different phases of the terminal area study. At some point, the airline properties managers will be invited to come to the terminal for two reasons: the terminal area study, along with the coordination of the ramp replacement on the north side here. Half of it we plan to do next summer, the other half in the following summer, which will take some gates out of service. We'll be boarding from the ramp some of the flights, but we'll try and minimize that as possible. So a lot of that work is in place. As far as security, you have in your packet the draft of a layout for a third lane. The TSA contractor provided you the existing configuration, and then on the second page they provided you what a third lane configuration could work. They're working with Terry Stroh, who had worked on this previously when we thought we were going to get the third lane in terms of spacing. So the walls that are on each side of the checkpoint when you go through are movable walls, and they can be pushed out to the east and the west to a certain point where there's some columns, and it appears that they'll be pushed out to those maximum areas. The only impact that we can see right now is the gift shop kiosk that's at the Gate 3 area, and Kevin is aware, Kevin Clapp and Cheryl Clapp are aware of that, and we'll be working with them as we get further along, probably next month or whatever. But all of this work needs to be done prior to, is it June, I think is our date, or July? So May, June timeframe, we'll be working on moving those walls out so that when the equipment shows up, it's ready to be installed. Now keep in mind, is it both units or one of the units? The new unit that they just installed here a few months ago going back out again. Now they're putting in another unit so that all of the units within North Dakota are the same, so that they can move employees about the state to help with their workforce issues across the state for male and female screeners. So this will be we'll try and give you an update as we get information on this going forward. The exit plaza, I know Terry and Mead and Hunt are working on getting the plans and specs together for the exit plaza, and hopefully we'll have an update on that for you at the January 11th meeting. Outside of that, I guess just an update on, we did report that November was an all-time record November, but the media calls lately have been about the cancellations that are taking place nationwide. The Sun Country issue yesterday was a computer outage. They're back online. They canceled all their flights yesterday, but that was a computer outage to a third-party vendor. They got that fixed. And what we're seeing now, cancellations to Denver this morning are because the Denver flights didn't get in last night. The SkyWest crew, our forecasters, I don't know if Rich is still here. It was basically because of forecasted winds. They didn't come in last night, so therefore there weren't aircraft for the departure this morning. And I didn't hear about the Phoenix flight. I don't know if that was, they didn't get in last night, so they didn't go out.
Phoenix flight, from what I heard from Michelle, is it sounded like the crew was young,
Okay.
and they didn't feel comfortable coming to Fargo. And
Okay.
I don't think they realized it was clear by the time they went back.
Okay. So we had a Las Vegas flight that came up yesterday and circled, and they had diverted to Des Moines, and ended up canceling in Des Moines. So I don't know how those people are getting here. There was crosswinds. So not only do we have visibility issues, you need a half mile to land, quarter mile to take off, but we had winds directly out of the west. So American had Phoenix, Chicago, and Dallas on the ground here. They pushed the Phoenix flight back to de-ice. Well, they couldn't get a drop of de-icing fluid on the aircraft because of the wind. So they brought it back, canceled that flight. So they exceeded what they could for de-icing. Then it was mentioned by some commuting pilots that if the east-west runway were open, we probably could operate. Well, they were still exceeding the wind requirements yesterday, so they still couldn't operate, they couldn't de-ice. Well, we did open the east-west runway, and I don't know if we had any takers for it yesterday or not.
Yeah, I think somewhere,
Yeah, Legion finally did operate a Tampa flight or an Orlando flight last night, and so we're in catch-up mode right now. But as far as the COVID impact on flight crews, that is real. There's hundreds of flights canceled again today. So while your flight may operate from Fargo to one of the hubs, Minneapolis, Denver, Dallas, or Chicago, there's no guarantee that your connecting flight is going to operate because of the impact on COVID. Whether it's lack of flight attendants, lack of pilots, don't know. SkyWest is really struggling with that. It's
pilots are displaced because of weather. That's another big issue.
Yeah, Rich Myers is our United Ground Express manager here in Fargo. So Rich, thanks for being here. I don't know if you have any other insights on stuff, but
Just that COVID needs to go away.
yeah. Now, whether or not the CDC's reduction in quarantine from 10 days to 5 days will happen, I think I'd heard that it was to get essential workers back. A lot of pressure from the airline CEOs to Congress here a couple of weeks ago. I think that finally resonated as they struggle with flight crews. And the pilot shortage is worse now than it was pre-pandemic, and it's not getting any better any soon. I know UND is full of students, Ohio State, Embry-Riddle. There's a lot of student pilots that are in the pipeline, but they're not coming at a rate fast enough to fly all the aircraft that are parked. It's going to be a mess for some time. So
Takes years to get
as
here.
they say, when you buy an airline ticket, you're buying a chance to fly. So that's really unfortunately what it's come down to. It's really unfortunate. Then you put weather and mechanical issues that do happen from time to time, but lack of flight crews, sick flight crews because of COVID, it all adds up. And major storm systems going about the country. It's just a challenging time, as it is during summer thunderstorms. Winter weather is no difference to the system. So that's all that I have right now. If there's anything else, Mayor, any insights or anything, any questions?
No, just glad we finally got to our agreement. So it's good to be here and good luck going forward, so.
Yeah, thank you for coming today. Appreciate your.
So we know that
being
we've
here.
got big shoes to fill,
Yep.
but we feel confident that going forward, it's going to be right. And the relationship with the city, I still maintain has been good for those things that we do together, whether it's for easements or working with Public Works or all of those different departments. That's gone well. I think I still have a good working relationship with them, working on some things with Don Crescent Planning right now. That's going to continue. That's never going to change. So.
Okay, any other discussions, any other items? I hope you all had a wonderful holiday with your families, and I hope you all have a great new year, and we'll see you in January. Meeting adjourned.